Today I'm going to show you how a pitcher pump works. This is a pump that's been used for hundreds of years. It's a simple old-fashioned pump system. So when you don't have electricity, you can still use it to pump water, which I do sometimes during the winter here. And so we'll show you how this works and the theory behind it and fixing the one that I have so I can pump some water for the sauna. Well, this time in 2020 in March, when the world is kind of crazy all the way around us, people are worried about being self-sufficient, and this is one of the ways that can help you be self-sufficient. This is a pump called a pitcher pump that's used. It's an old style, years and years, hundreds of years ago, they used pumps like this. Very effective, and it doesn't need any electricity, just needs some leathers in it for it to function. And we use this on my well here that's down about 15 feet, a sand point we pounded down, and we use electric pump, and then we use the pitcher pump. I'll show you that another time. But it sat for a while, and then I tried using it, and it didn't function because you prime it, pour water in the top, and get it to start functioning, but it wouldn't. So more than likely the leathers are bad. So we're going to show you here today how to take care of this, how to put new leathers in. And again, if the person doesn't have one of these, what you see going on across the world, any kind of a backup like this that you can have for any kind of major disaster is not a bad idea. So the technology used in these pitcher pumps are pretty simple. The top comes off of here. There's very few moving parts in this thing. There's a set screw that holds the top on, and once that comes off, the inner workings of this comes out. And so this is the plunger that goes up and down in the cylinder here, and as you push down, it'll put pressure on it and will raise this weight up, let the water through, and then on your elevated thrust coming up, it sits down and it seals it. And as it goes down, it pushes it more, keeps on pushing through. And pretty simple system. And then of course there's leathers on here that seal that up. And then on the base of this, you have another valve, one-way valve. You could almost make your own replacement parts with it, but I bought the parts on the internet. Quite a few different places you can buy them. It's a real common system. But that's a cylinder that the plunger goes up and down through. And then at the base here, there is a rubber seal. Actually, they're leather, usually leather like this one is. And this one is partially, part of it's missing. And so how this works is this sits over here to seal up the pipe going down to the well. And then this plunger will sit on top of here and the cylinder on top. And as it pushes down, it pushes water through up, and then as you raise it up, now it'll suck water up through the bottom flap here. I'll show you when I get the new one back on again. This one's kind of falling apart, been sitting for a while. But again, real simple little system. So I think I bought the parts for like $15. And this is the base part, the flapper seal that sits on here like this and seals up the bottom, and then your flapper goes on here. When these sit for quite a while, being wet and dry, they will wear out, and so it's best to get them replaced every so often. Okay, so that'll sit on there. Now, on the other part of the system here, this plunger is screwed on, can be adjusted. I'm going to take it completely off because you can adjust these to the height that you're going to have them go. It's easier to work with that way. So this is the base, and again, you can see the valve in here. Now the leather's on the outside, which seals around the canister, the tube. This comes off, and your old leather is removed, and you put the new one on. And I'll take and brush these off here in a little bit too, but I'll just to show you how these go together. It goes a lot faster to do that this way. So that new one's on now, and you just screw them back together. Amazing system. That's about all there is to it. And then when it goes back together, it sits on top like this, and it pushes down through. It takes a while for it to get seated, and you get it wet. And but go down on there. Adjust this right. And then, of course, this base now is going to sit on here, and this the leather piece on here is what seals it, and this is formed for that. So when you tighten this down, now that leather piece on the bottom here is sealing it. And that really sets in there. So if you ever had an outage or in a situation where there was no power, this actually is a pretty foolproof way of having a water source. Okay. So that's about all there is to it. And then again, it's got to get broke in. But as you push down the handle, it brings the plunger up. As you push down, when you've got water in there, it's sitting, the water goes through the valve on the plunger up into here, up above it. And then on your down thrust again, now that water comes out, and you're sucking water up into the bottom chamber here. And when you push it down, it picks that water up and continues. That's how the system works. Very simple system. And we'll show you how it works on the well here. Okay, so the base of the pitcher pump is like this, and then this one mounts on top of here. And so in order to get a base to set the whole thing on top of the well, I needed to make a frame to be able to do that. So what I did is use a piece of plywood, cut the hole in the bottom so we can run it through there. And then on top of that, take a 5-gallon plastic bucket, and we'll mount this thing on here. And that'll be just a base to operate from. Set that down over the well with the pipe going down, and that'll hold it real well for stability. Okay, so now I pre-drilled it, and I'm going to put a block of wood underneath here. I will get these in here is put a piece of plywood on the back side and screw through it for the to hold it in place. There we go. Now we got a good solid base for it to sit on. That should work out really good. Now once we set the pump on here and set it on the well, it'll be good for the next phase, putting it back together again. Now that I got the base bucket put together and the bottom of the pump, the pitcher pump attached to it, now we can put the rest back together here to get it working so we can start pumping some water with it. That's working good and smooth. Well, that brings back memories of when I was a kid back in the 50s on a farm in Minnesota. We had a cistern that we used for potable water, And we had one of these pitcher pumps in the pantry adjacent to the kitchen. So it really brings back memories, fond memories of what we did as a kid. And now this is a little bit cleaner water than what the cistern was. So looking forward to putting this together here. Okay, so this is my well, my sand point I pounded down. There's a 3-inch galvanized pipe that I pounded down into the ground about 15 feet into really a sugar sand aquifer that is just really cold water, clean glacial fed water. And this is what I've been using for my source of my water. During the summer we pump it with a pump, but now when things are frozen up, we'll use the pitcher pump to pump water to be able to use. I need to use for a sauna today here too. So out here in the bush sometimes you don't have the option to have all the nice pieces. You can just run to a hardware store or Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that to get the pieces that you need. So we've had to make do with some things over a period of time. But this is the pipe that I'll go down into my Sandpoint well that I have here, and I got a check valve at the end here, and that attaches here to my pitcher pump. Now we just need to prime it, prime the pump. I got it primed and water poured in there. We can start to get some water out of this thing. There we go. One way of getting the water the old-fashioned way, but if you have no electricity or out in the bush, it's a real efficient, inexpensive way of getting water. Now, flipping a switch, electrical switch, is a lot easier, but this is what will get it done. This little pitcher pump is pretty efficient. I can pump a 5-gallon bucket in just a minute, something like that. Keep it going. Ideally, I should have it set up a little bit higher, and I'll make a bracket to be able to do that later on, but for now this works fine. And again, these things really bring back memories. Even when I was in Minnesota, back on the farm, back in the mid-50s, I went to a country schoolhouse, one-room schoolhouse, and we had a big pump there that and it was very common back in those days that you would pump on. So a lot of good memories. So I hope you enjoyed this today, seeing about the pitcher pump. And this is reality out here in the bush. You don't have everything ideal conditions that you want, but the main thing is that you have sources of equipment and materials that you can make happen what needs to happen even without electricity. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please share it with your friends, subscribe to our channel, and push the like button, and leave a comment down below and see anything else, ideas and different things you'd like to see out here. And again, appreciate you sharing this time with me, and hope to see you back here at the lodge.